Hello, everybody. We're coming in a little bit later today than expected. There was a windstorm. There were some internet problems, but we are here. All right, everybody. Today, we have a really big treat for you guys. And I'm just going to tell you, it is for Anne a shocking review of her hormones. And this is something she's been waiting for the entire program. So we're here. Last night, we reviewed her hormones. And Anne,
Yeah, it is shocking. You said I've been waiting for it the entire program. That's true. But really, I have been waiting for this moment for decades. That's not an exaggeration. And the information I got was not only shocking, but I think will be life-changing.
here we go, everybody. Hey, everybody. Welcome to today, a special edition of Autoimmune Table Talk Live. And today, we're actually going to be getting very up close and personal with Anne's hormone results.
Yeah, I know. I feel so exposed.
I know, and I understand. And so for me, it's actually the first time we've actually turned the tables where, people, once they join the program, experience the program almost behind the curtain, and people don't really know what happens behind there. And they're like, what do you mean hormone mastery? What do you mean, like, she's teaching you things? It's really hard for people to truly experience what that's like.
Yeah. I'm so happy that you are showcasing this in this way, because I think it's going to be so helpful for people to really understand what goes on in this program. If you've been following my vlog at all, and I hope that you have, I've been trying to take you along with me every step of the way as I go through the Transform Autoimmune program, week by week, giving you my thoughts, experiences, and kind of showing you what goes on every week in the program. But this is really groundbreaking in that you're taking us inside one of your master classes and you're breaking it down to show everybody really how you train us and the results that we can get from that. And I think it's going to be really eye-opening for people who are interested in learning more about this program.
So FYI, just so you guys know, stay till you get to the very end, because we're going to be doing something very special with hormones, some things that you can do for your hormones. There's going to be a surprise at the end that you're not going to want to miss. But I'll give you a little context. Transform Autoimmune is a 2-month online program designed to teach you how to think like me, how to turn around any autoimmune disease naturally. It is not a Band-Aid or a doctor's visit or a consult. It is a be-all, end-all training program to get yourself the master's degree on learning how to turn around autoimmunity. A lot of people don't know what the heck that even means. And that's why today, Anne has been, throughout the last month and a half, Anne has been going through the program herself, and as you guys have learned from her and her journey, and she's been documenting it in her vlog. And last night, we went over her hormone results. And and it was huge for you. And at the end of it, when we were done with it, I think a couple of us asked you, would you be willing to share that video of your actual hormone review, the real review we did last night in our mastermind call behind the scenes, so you guys get to see what happened. So we're going to be replaying that video in a couple minutes. So, but could you cue it up for a second, which is, why the heck do you care about your hormones, and why should anyone else care about their hormones?
Right. Yeah, no, it's so true. I've been dealing with autoimmune issues now for the last at least several years, certainly, but really now I'm recognizing, learning in the program, that this has been something that's been brewing for many, many years in my life. And there is such an important connection between hormones and autoimmunity. And it's something that no other doctors really are connecting the dots and helping people with. And I have been begging doctors, and I mean begging doctors, for years and years to help me sort out what's going on with my hormones, because I know that they're part of what's fueling my autoimmunity, and they're not balanced. And I always got, well, they look great on your test results. Everything looks normal, and you don't have these symptoms that are classic for this type of a hormone issue, and you don't have these symptoms, so everything must be fine. And that is so frustrating for somebody. If you can relate to this, anybody who's watching, let us know. Can you relate to a doctor not being able to give you answers when it comes to your hormones, or really, on that note, anything else as it relates to your autoimmunity, but yet there's an issue, right?
Yeah. And here's the thing is, I'd love, it's not just Anne. There's so many people who've been through our main program, Transform Autoimmune, and also our hormone program called My Hormone Masterclass. What I'd love to do is for anybody who's been through or any of our programs and have had their hormones reviewed, I'd love in chat if you could tell people and share a little bit about why that was a big deal for you, right? Or what hormone problems did you have? What autoimmune struggles did you have? And what happened as a result of changing, finding out what's really wrong with your hormones, understanding how to fix that problem. How did that turn around your hormone symptoms, but how did that turn around your autoimmunity? I'd love for you guys to comment and chat. That'd be really great because there's nothing better than real people with real outcomes, along with us sharing the real results that Anne is, the real data review that we did with Anne last night. So I'd love to hear from you guys. That'd be really great. Amy's currently currently in our program right now. I'd love for those of you guys who are currently in our program to comment what has been the experience like learning about your hormones. But back to what Anne is saying was that a lot of you guys have hormonal issues and symptoms, and you know it's linked with your autoimmunity. And regardless of whether you think it's linked to your autoimmunity, you know it's linked with a lot of the other health issues you've had. You know, and the problem is that you are going up and butting against the institution really of doctors who have no understanding of hormones, and they tell you you don't need to get your hormone tested, or if you're quote unquote lucky enough to get your hormones tested, you're told that they're in the normal range and they're fine. Okay. And then finally, number 3, worse, sometimes even worse, they're like, oh, you know what, we just need to give you some hormones.
Right.
And then I'm going to see that I've shown multiple times, hundreds of times, how many times people have told me, oh, I got hormones licked. And because they're being prescribed hormones, when we test their hormones, they find out that they have crazy ass patterns that are that's actually one of the things that was triggering what's worsening their autoimmune disease was the fact that they were receiving hormones and their hormones weren't balanced. It was in fact more imbalanced than sometimes many of the other people who are not even taking hormones.
And that is so frustrating. It is so, so frustrating to not get the help. And if I were to have been prescribed hormones, it would have made my problem that you uncovered worse. So,
So without further ado, what I'm going to do is let's take a look at some of the comments. Thank you, Amy. Amy Flowers went through our program, hormone program. She found out she was estrogen dominant with mild form of PCOS and fatty liver. And that has everything to do with autoimmunity. There's so many layers of that we'll probably go into in this review as well. So I would love to hear from you guys. And those of you guys who have hormone symptoms, type in chat. What are some of your hormone symptoms? What autoimmune struggles you have? We're going to go ahead right now and we're going to go into, you guys, I'm going to share, we're going to share my screen and we're going to watch uninterrupted at last night's review of Anne's hormones in the middle of the Transform program. Okay, okay everybody, here we go.
I've been waiting for this moment for like 10 years.
So, but look at your symptoms, right? Acne, hair loss, irregular ovulation, mood swings, anxiety, history of infertility. That smells to me like PCOS.
Right?
Yes.
I've been asking a doctor that question for a long time.
This to me is obviously PCOS, but I'd be just looking at those symptoms without any lab results, I'd be probably 95%, 99% right. That doesn't mean 100% of those people with all those symptoms have PCOS, but the likelihoods 90% or higher. So PCOS with a testosterone sensitivity or high testosterone, either one of those, you can have acne. Hair loss typically isn't hormone related, but if it is hormone related, it's related with either really high or really low testosterone. So could it be from high testosterone or high testosterone sensitivity? Yeah. Irregular periods, really commonly, you could get it in irregular periods, can be low everything, can be estrogen dominance, but most of the time we get irregular periods. When you say irregular though, are you saying that they can be, you can just skip them for random reasons? Or are you saying they're really frequent and heavy?
Way, but my ovulation specifically comes at an irregular time in my cycle.
Really common in PCOS.
Ovulate late.
So that's really common in polycystic ovarian syndrome. Struggle with fertility is really common for everybody with autoimmune disease, but specifically people with PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome, and also people with a genetic condition called MTHFR, which is really common for people with autoimmune disease. Every one of us here is sitting with an MTHFR genetic problem. So let's look at those results. Take a look. So you've had MTHFR testing? Yeah, you don't even need to have, right? So number 1, is she estrogen dominant, everybody? No. Number 2, what's next? Okay, this is an interesting one to look at, and it's a tricky. Let's take a look at the adrenal ones. Cortisol. Okay, let's go back up here. What could this pattern be? This is an interesting one because it's not the easy case to solve.
Yeah,
This is the one that would require winner chicken dinner. Whoever gets this right, that who isn't Anne. I know she could teach this program without me. She probably
Oh, no. You've taught so well.
Anne, why do you think this is hidden PCOS? You're right.
I know this is hidden PCOS because look at my DHEA.
Mhm.
It is underneath that red line.
Shitty.
If my DHEA was in a normal range, where would my testosterone be?
So a couple things here would be that number one, would a balancer be really great? 2 a.m. Relaxer 1 scoop at night would be really great, right? Could you benefit from liver love? 1 a.m, 1 at night?
Yes.
I think so. And I'm curious, based on your history, any other history of any, you probably have had history of some liver problems you already know about, correct?
What would be an indication of that exactly?
Sensitivity to smells, to mold, sensitive problems with toxins or, anything.
Yes.
High cholesterol or,
Yes. I have, yes.
Yes. Right. So let's go down. So liver love would be great. 1 a.m, 1 at night. And then if you look at her adrenals, what stage adrenal fatigue is this? Stage 1, we call arousal. Look at how many of those dots are high. The morning dot is high on the red. The other 3 out of the 4 dots are near the top. That's called arousal, which is called stage 1 adrenal fatigue. So do we just sit here and say, oh, you have adrenal fatigue, we're going to give you adrenal boosters? No, we want to calm those cortisols. So the best thing for Anne would be to take a cortisol Pro-Cortex 2 in the evening, and that'll be really helpful. But the most important thing for Anne is to balance her blood sugars. And so she should be presenting food journal. I mean, I know she's a workaholic like me. And so she's really going to have to prioritize her eating and her blood sugar mastery in order to solve this problem.
Pro Omega,
Mhm.
what's the best vegan supplement for that?
I did a training. I answered that question, and I think we actually last week we talked about it. If you truly are a vegan, you're going to be looking at an algae fish oil,
and like a specific brand.
I mean, Nordic Naturals has a decent one. Emily can share the link but my problem is I don't want people to think that's my preferred omega at all, because algae omega tends to be really low dose. You have to take like 6 to 8 capsules a day, like 10 capsules, 8 to 10 capsules a day to equal the amount of omegas that you get in like 3 Pro Omega 1000.
I'll consider taking the Pro Omega. Thank you.
So Pro Omega 1000 would be first choice. Even if you're a vegan, if you can handle it, would be 1 a.m, 2 at night. But if you're going to go truly vegan, then there's algae omegas, and the algae omega, there's a Nordic Natural one. That would be second choice. But the problem is they're really weak. So you have to take a ton of pills. So it costs a lot of money and you have to swallow a lot.
Okay.
So Nordic Naturals is a decent brand on Amazon.
Now, I know in the modules you talk about EGCG, and only which of the supplements doesn't one of the supplements have that in there?
Would be it would be the Pro Omega 1000. That is I'm sorry, it's Balancer, the original formula.
Get the original one.
Yeah,
that one would be the more beneficial one for me.
That is correct.
Okay. And now I'm currently taking a DIM supplement. Should I continue that? Do I need to switch? I also do have Love Her, but do I need like a Defend Her moment?
You do not, based on your labs. Let's go back up. The interesting thing is that you don't have estrogen dominance and you don't have crazy ass testosterone. So Liver Love would be like right now, you could definitely finish up the DIM and the Love Her. But my question is, how long were you taking the DIM and Love Her before you did this test?
Like 4 or 5 months. So maybe
it's possible that you are estrogen dominant, but the DIM and the Love Her was really working.
Yeah. So
me personally, I can't tell, because it could be that the DIM and Love Her was already working really well, because frequently PCOS goes with estrogen dominance.
Okay.
So this could be the DIM and the Love Her working really well. We don't have a comparison.
Stay on it then, maybe.
I would just stay on it. And what I would consider is, once you're done with them, try swapping to Liver Love.
Okay. So, I'd be scared to stop it though. So,
keep it, or just keep it and forget about the Liver Love, because there's a lot of liver support in DIM and in Love Her. That's fine too. That's a one. You want to do that instead of Liver Love? That works for me. Okay. I'm giving you room to play with this.
I like it.
Okay.
Yeah.
But with PCOS, we got to make sure Pro Omega 1000, you got to get high dose omegas to help with the neural inflammation. This is why she has anxiety or brain fog or mood swings. So 1 in the morning of Pro Omega 1000, 2 at night. We want like 3,000 to 4,000 milligrams of omega 3s is really important. Number 2 is high blood sugar swinging to low all the time. Those high blood sugar feeds a lot of gut infection. She better be rotating her probiotics. And I would tend to rotate like Proflora GI on Monday through Friday for someone who has high infection risks like PCOS people. And then the Proflora AI would be Saturday and Sunday. That rotation, Ann.
I'm on it. You have no idea. This is like, I've been asking for years for these answers. So this means so much to me to get them.
You totally have PCOS, and it's just like, it's crazy that, but it's not. I see people like you missed every single day. Every single week we have a hidden PCOS that was missed by the physicians, you know, and you guys, depending on your doctors to diagnose this, they don't even understand DHEA or progesterone is a precursor to testosterone. They don't even know that PCOS, you know, can have even a normal testosterone, but be hidden like this. So then you're depending on them, but they have no training in this. I'm the only doctor who's ever talked about hidden PCOS. You will never hear that training anywhere on earth. Nobody else ever talks about that.
It's so true. I've even had the ultrasounds done and been told you don't have the cysts. You definitely don't have PCOS.
You do not require to have cysts at all to have PCOS, to have this autoimmune problem.
Nope.
Okay.
Oh,
thank you, Ann. This is exciting. Yeah. I mean, let's talk through the layers of that.
Yeah. I just want to first say, though, at the end of that call last night, I was emotional, and I'm feeling it again because, you know, and you know what this is like to just wonder for so many years what's going on. If I would have met you years ago and been working with you years ago, it would have totally changed the whole trajectory of my life, really, really. And that's not to be exaggerative. You know, I dealt with such infertility struggles, and I do believe had you been able to intervene and tell me, we're dealing with PCOS here, and here's all of the steps you can take to try to correct this.
Yeah.
My life would have been very different. And I would have saved tens of thousands of dollars potentially on IVF treatments, and not to mention the emotional stress and turmoil that, you know, that brought upon us. It's just, what you're doing for people and the information that you're giving people is such a service. And so I just am so thankful. I really am. I after the call, I went and hugged my husband and cried because it just feels so good to have answers.
You know, it's kind of like, it totally is coming full circle for me, because when I was in the clinic, you know, I started out as a hormone expert before I became an autoimmune expert. And I was known as the pregnancy whisperer once I became an autoimmune expert. That's the funny thing is, once I became an autoimmune expert, I became a pregnancy whisperer, because once I tied in hormones with autoimmunity, then I realized just how many people were struggling with these issues, like fertility issues, was actually having autoimmune issues, and that was connected. And it's funny, your results were reviewed just, you know, last night, and we also last night we had an alumni who graduated the program 6 weeks ago, and 10 years she's been struggling with infertility, and she's pregnant.
Oh, there's no.
You know who you are, everybody in Optimizer. It's I won't say her name just because I know it's early, and she, you know, but she's 6 weeks pregnant. But it's the first time she's been pregnant in 10 years.
And that's because of you. I mean, really it is. And I'm sure she's crediting the same thing. You know, you would have not only saved me from the infertility struggles, but then after I gave birth, my body was not in a great state. And that triggered autoimmunity. So I may not have even ever had autoimmunity had I met you previously and worked with you years ago. I mean, that's the kind of intervention that you're able to do with people.
Well, you're mirroring my story. Like, kind of like, thank God I came down with that. Like after I delivered each of my children, it felt like near-death experiences for me, like entire body. There was always some sort of complication, depression, hair loss. I had no clue what it was. No one even tested one blood test to do with this. I was recommended to try a Prozac at the time. But like, you know, look, these patterns are missed all the time. Hormones aren't even tested. Women and men are being ignored for their hormonal changes all the time. I reviewed a hormone result today with a man, and his wife and him was literally, I looked at this pattern and I was like, I knew it based on the blood work already, Anne, that I was like, I can't wait to see the hormones, because I could already tell he's probably going to have a testosterone problem. This is somebody under 30, right? Who's a male, who's like supposedly not have a lot of symptoms. But then, of course, we went to the male hormones and it was like, it was in the shithole. And yet, a guy like him, if first of all, would have never been tested. And number two, if he was tested, immediately, if a doctor saw a leveled up low, they just say, I'm just going to give you testosterone. Instead of balancing the hormones and helping him make it the testosterone, which we see all the time, recovery on that all the time, they would have given him testosterone therapy. Oh, let's just have you inject testosterone for life, which would have shut off his testosterone production, which is the last thing you want to do. So that's the thing, is like, we see all these examples and we're living proof of it, Anne, is that it's not just a problem with getting pregnant, it's the miscarriages, it's our experience during pregnancy. When we deliver the baby, how the outcome of the baby is. My son has autism, and there's a lot of like issues when we're autoimmune moms and we have kids that are at higher risk, like, so.
100%.
And then
my son has food allergies, and having a mom with autoimmune issues, I'm obviously on high alert. But what I've learned in your program is not only going to help me, but it's going to help my son as well.
Yeah, and your specific pattern, I call it hidden PCOS. That doesn't exist in the medical literature. No doctor's ever heard of it. It's called hidden PCOS, and it's hidden because nobody else could really see it. I didn't go into it with Anne's result, but we reviewed several hidden PCOS, and we went into the biochemistry of what hormones become what hormones. The reason she knew was hidden PCOS, I'm not going to get into the biochemistry of this, but the way certain hormones turn into testosterone. And if those source hormones are low to be like at this point, this could be looks normal, but it's actually falsely normal. And I think about Anne, like 5 years ago, those precursor hormones are super high or normal. The testosterone would have been through the roof. So it's literally something where people have to really understand how hormones are created, how they break down and everything, to really think, to be like, I'm not going to be fooled by this normal result right here, because that looks technically normal in that testosterone. But it was completely screaming, oh my gosh, she's been PCOS her whole life. And it's now her precursors are so low and plummeted because she's been going through adrenal fatigue for quite some time that it looks normal. And then all of a sudden, like, you don't have a problem. You just cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Let's put you on some antidepressants there, you little lady. You don't have a fertility problem. It's nothing to do with your hormones. Let's put you on IVF for 20,000 around or whatever. Like, this is what we do when the doctors themselves don't understand how hormones are made, broken down, how the different types of patterns, and how, depending on the stages of life you're in, and depending whether you have autoimmune disease or not, it can be hidden. And you have to actually really know your science to be able to say, that's hidden and I know it's there.
And that's the thing. It's hidden to almost everybody, including medical doctors, including doctors who specialize in hormones and fertility that I've also seen. I've seen many of them, even flown all over the country to try to visit different IVF clinics. Nobody could uncover this. My functional doctor could not uncover this. And so it's really a credit to you in that not only can you spot it immediately, but I'm proud of myself too, because I was able to spot it. You did actually teach us to think like you. You know what I mean? You explained this in such a way throughout the program and just throughout the hormone week that once I got my results, I said, oh my gosh, I had hidden PCOS this whole time. And you taught us that. And so you gave us that education that is just invaluable. I mean, it really is, so that I was able to diagnose what doctors have not been able to diagnose previously because of you.
Well, the other thing that was, we didn't do a lot on your review, but we did on the other reviews, was I'm constantly pausing my review to ask people in the program to give the answers. So that's missing from this review. But like we reviewed 6, 7 hormones that night. And in a lot of the other ones, I was pausing and I would be like, hey, so what is this pattern? I call it winner, winner, chicken dinner. Whoever can get
Mhm.
the exact winner, exact pattern. And some of these are complex patterns. They have the title of winning the winner, winner, chicken dinner that night. But that's just
And I
Amy
have to say, I know that's one of my favorite. The medical mastermind calls are my favorite part of this program
yeah.
because it really helps you cement the information that you have learned throughout it because you're able to have that interaction. These are 2-hour long meetings that you get to have with Dr. Maggie. And yeah, she's not reviewing your results the whole time, but you're an active participant in it because Dr. Maggie is asking, hey, everybody, what do you think of Jane's vitamin D? What do you think?
Everyone's learning, everyone's teaching. But this is the principle, though, Anne. You heard it on your first orientation. I said, so I'm not here to dabble in autoimmune disease, and neither are you. You're here by the end of this. If I do my job right, you're going to learn how to think like me. And that is a freaking tall order. Took a lot to get here. That being said, how do we do it? And I call it see one, do one, teach one, which is you're going to see a bunch of these reviews, right? You're going to do an actual review with me and you're going to teach the hell out of it over and over again in these mastermind calls to get true mastery. So if you're not going to see one, do one, and teach one, you will never get mastery. And we're teaching here for you to master hormones, master autoimmunity. We don't dabble in it.
We don't, yeah. No, it really is. It cements it in you. And then you know it. You know that information going forward. And it's something I don't think I will ever forget because it's like you said, I've been now teaching it on the other end, helping out on these calls as well.
Yeah.
I'm not going to forget this information.
So, for me, like this is like multifold. A lot of people be like, oh, they're talking about fertility, then it doesn't matter. Hormones only matters if it's a fertility. But
Wow.
I have something really important to say about Anne's case and everybody else's case. Why is it important to know she's PCOS now? She's no longer trying to get pregnant. Why is it important still? Every single pattern is really important. I don't care if it's PCOS, estrogen dominance, however many other patterns we teach in here, is that it has a dramatic impact on autoimmunity. And I'm going to use PCOS as just an example here. Do you know that PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome, 90% of the times is missed by your doctor?
Mhm.
But do you know that, in my opinion, it's an autoimmune disease? And it's not just my opinion, and here's why. Polycystic ovarian syndrome is frequently pre-diabetes that turns into diabetes. The risk of the person with PCOS turning into diabetes is crazy ass high. Diabetes is an autoimmune disease. So what the hell is PCOS?
Yeah.
An autoimmune disease.
Right. And it's
Right.
so true. It's so true because I have blood sugar problems. I have type 1 diabetes that runs in my family. You can't make this stuff up.
Well, and here's the thing. Once she realizes that she's PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome, you heard me say it in the video, but I'm going to say it again. Her linchpin to literally solving any autoimmune issue she has and some of the symptoms and diagnosis, because I think you had blood work for scleroderma, correct?
Yes.
And she's sitting here scared to hell, like not have the symptoms, but blood work for scleroderma. And she's wondering what the hell's going to happen with that. Right.
Yeah.
And here's what I'm going to tell you. On your watch and my watch, you're never the hell going to get it. And you know why? I just told you the biggest linchpin to your autoimmune issues is that damn blood sugar that's made worse because of the autoimmune issue related to PCOS. So her blood sugar goes really high, stays there, and then it plummets super fast all the time. And you guys know from the 5 pillars, that's one of the biggest trigger of autoimmune disease. Specifically for her, it's even more. So it's literally critical and life-changing and autoimmune altering for her to realize that is my biggest issue. Here are the symptoms that are relating with it. And here's the things that I can do about it. And here's what it's going to, like, there's a tangible result, which is not just, I'm immediately going to be, I'm sleeping better, my anxiety is less tonight. Is literally like, does she have to get scleroderma just because she has a blood test that's positive with no symptoms right now? Is that inevitable? Is that completely inevitable? Like one of those things where it's just like, oh, I got the blood test positive. And so now for sure I'm doomed for the rest of my life and I'm going to get worse and worse and worse and worse. This is what we think of every autoimmune diagnosis. And I call bullshit. She could have a blood test that's positive and on my watch and her watch and you guys in the audience, I hope she never, and I don't hope, she won't be getting scleroderma on my watch or her watch because we know what the hell's feeding it.
Well, and that's the difference too. I speak to my rheumatologist and other doctors and they tell me, oh, there's nothing really you can do except take, certain medications to try to maybe help with symptoms, but
Mhm.
you're going to get what you're going to get, and there's no intervention that can be done. And it is so refreshing to hear you and not just dream about these things, but you have the proof for it to say, no, we can intervene. If we attack your root cause, we're going to stop the autoimmune attack in your body, and we're not going to let it ever progress to that point. And
That's
just
right.
to also send your point home, like, why do hormones matter with autoimmunity? I absolutely notice personally an increase in my autoimmune type symptoms at certain times of the month in my cycle.
Boom.
So people with hormone problems that have autoimmunity, we know that our hormones are playing a key role
Yeah.
in autoimmunity. So it absolutely matters.
But I also, to using PCOS as an example that people don't even consider autoimmune and miss all the time, I tied it in even further. So because of those high blood sugars, right, the staying there, and they plummet to low. High low is still a big swing, but people with PCOS stay high for a long time, and the higher the period of time they spend high, crosses the blood brain barrier, which is why people with PCOS have more brain fog, depression, anxiety, irritability, mood swings, more diagnosis of ADD, ADHD, more family history of dementia.
Yeah.
All right. So this isn't just like, some blood sugar thing. PCOS, what's the fertility? It's like literally this has to do with your freaking brain. And not that you're doomed. Like, here's how you fix the root cause of the problem. Here's what you can do to turbocharge this. Take Pro Omega 1001 in the morning, 2 at night. Why? Omega 3s crossing that blood-brain barrier is so protective for every single brain cell there, right? So this is why people with PCOS have more PMS, depression, anxiety, brain fog, dementia, you name it, all this stuff. There's a biological reason for why that's happening, not because you're cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs or that you're weak.
Right. No, I can absolutely relate to. I've got the anxiety, and my brain fog has been so bad at times that, you can't think straight. And I'm a TV news anchor, as some of you might know, and I can't have brain fog when I'm on live TV. I need to be on, just as all of us do. We can't be dealing with this. And so if there is a way to combat it and turn it around and think clearly and become ourselves again, who wouldn't want that? I also just want to talk a little bit, everybody that's watching, and whether you're an alumni or whether you're just kind of seeing into these masterminds for the first time, I am so impressed with the fact that you're able to provide us with these real solutions during the call. You're able to say, here's what you can actually take to address this issue, and here's how you're going to take it, and here's what you can take to address that issue. You're getting such great one-on-one time and actual recommendations from you based on our data that I think it's truly invaluable.
Well, what I liked about your review was Anne's like, oh, I'm already taking this and this, and then we're personalizing that, and I'm talking through the logic with her. You guys may not understand all the logic behind it, but everybody in the program does. As she's like, should I be on Live with Love? Should I be on this? Should I be on that? There literally is modules that trains people on that, but in the live troubleshoot, there's a lot of personalization that must happen so people understand the logic of why I'm recommending something. It's not just like, oh, you're going to do Live or Love and you're going to do balance or whatever. Like for me, I'm just like, it could be the reason these lab results are like this is because you have been taking that. We don't have
and
a
it's working.
And it's working. Like, who the hell ever tells you that? You know what? They don't even know. So how the hell are they supposed to tell you that?
It's true. It's true. Yeah, that I found very invaluable. And then the other thing I want to point out too is, yes, I learned all of the critical information during the module, but once I found out and figured out that I had this hidden PCOS, I then was able to go and look at all of the bonus material that you have in the program, which is vast. I mean, the bonus material for the hormone section alone, it goes on and on and on with the videos. And I was able to then get a lot of additional great information based on a topic that I was interested in from your bonus material. So I think that's another thing that people may not realize that exists within the Transform program.
So if you follow the trail with that we were doing the review, I mentioned a couple other things, which is that when you have elevated blood sugars like you do in PCOS, it feeds the gut infection. So she is at more risk of gut infection. Even though all people with autoimmune disease are at higher risk, people with PCOS are all at even higher risk than the autoimmune population because of blood sugar issues, right? But then I'm like, it's not that you're doomed. It's like, here's what you're going to do instead. You're going to rotate these two probiotics in this specific way to lower your risk of infection because you're at higher risk. Not like, like you're doomed, right?
Yeah.
So I said, hey, you need to rotate Proflora GI Monday through Friday. You need to rotate Proflora AI on Saturday and Sunday. That's a different way of rotating than people who don't have a high infection risk. Who don't have infection in the program. So we have specific ways to tailor it so that it fits your scenario specifically. Because you gotta do supplementation based on your data, not because it's good for you. I told you so. Easily, someone could have done a review of that hormones and just be like, Anne's like, oh, I'm already taking these 2 supplements. And they're yours. Oh, go ahead. Keep taking them for life. In fact, add these 6 other ones. Ka-ching, 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 ka-ching. Like, this is the normal way they deal with this problem. They don't want to teach you how to not take that supplement or never have to take those supplements or how to get off those supplements.
You're a terrible supplement salesman,
I'm
Dr.
a terrible supplement salesman.
No, but I think also that's why people are, trust you so much and respect you, because you don't want us to supplement to no end. You want us to only take what's targeted and absolutely necessary, and only for the amount of time that we truly need it.
Right. Absolutely. So, I mean, I hope that this was super helpful for you guys that are watching this, because and a lot of you will be sitting here like, what can I do about my hormones right now? So I want to talk through a couple things. Number one is that I love tying the hormones with the autoimmunity, right? And I hope I made that happen. If you are interested in learning more about our Transform Autoimmune program, we're going to put a link in chat for you guys to chat our team. Transform Autoimmune, the program is going to be not only dealing with hormones, which is one of the pillars, but we're going to be talking, all the blood sugar, the gut healing, the vitamin nutrient density, the digestion, all that. There's so much in it. That's the Transform Autoimmune program. However, this is the time of year when I remind people that we have a hormone-specific program called My Hormone Masterclass. Yes. So a lot of people start their journey into our program by going into My Hormone Masterclass first. So I just want to do just wanting to let you guys know. And I think, Amy, you did My Hormone Masterclass. I don't know how many people out there are from My Hormone Masterclass that's been here. But My Hormone Masterclass, I'm going to drop a link in the chat for you guys, because between now and Cyber Monday, we're having a Black Friday special for My Hormone Masterclass. Ooh. And this is where, yes. So between, and I'm just going to share my screen really quickly. Maybe, should I do that? Just to show you guys where it's going. Oh, did you do My Hormone Masterclass first?
I think she's saying yes to that. And I have Andrea also saying that she had her one-on-one for Hormone Masterclass.
Oh my God. Thank you, Andrea. Yes. I remember that. That just happened. And Andrea, I'd love for you and Amy to give some feedback on your experience with My Hormone Masterclass right here in chat right now. But there is something, if you cannot do the whole program right now and you want to literally end this year with a Thanksgiving gift for yourself to balance your hormones, we have My Hormone Masterclass. There's a whole video here that talks about what the class is. We talked about what is covered in the class, what are some of the symptoms that are related to hormones. And we talk about, and yes, currently, and you could learn all about My Hormone Masterclass here, and you can enroll. But the special that we're running on that is it's $500 off.
Oh, that's big.
Yep. So if you guys are interested in My Hormone Masterclass, go ahead and click the link. You can sign up to join My Hormone Masterclass. And then the other cool thing is people are like, but I don't want to do one or the other. Well, I have a secret for you. For those people that do join My Hormone Masterclass, the amount that you put into My Hormone Masterclass is applied to the main program when you join the main program. So that's why a lot of people like Amy or Andrea, they'll do the hormone class first, and then they use that and start with the hormone piece and then go into the main program. So that's a great option for a lot of people. So if you're interested in that, there's a link to that class. If you don't know which one you're going to join, chat our team right now. We are happy to talk to you and help you figure that out. But Anne, these hormones are critical. I know for you, it's has to do with the rest of your life dealing with autoimmunity or not, right? Yes. And earlier for you could have been fertility. For, let's call her Alyssa, she was dealing with infertility for 10 years. She found out she was pregnant this week, 6 weeks pregnant, right?
I'm so
right?
happy for
her. But for me, it's really critical because I was diagnosed with early menopause at the age of 36, and I didn't really have early menopause. I had an autoimmune attack attacking the hell out of my thyroid, my ovaries, and my adrenals. Once I stopped that, my periods came back and I didn't go into menopause. I had normal hormones balanced for the next 10 years. I didn't go into menopause until I was 48, 49. And I went into that gracefully. Thank you very much. Without it flaring and triggering my autoimmune hell, like a lot of people. right?
Right. Right. Because that's
So
another hormonally sensitive time that triggers it. Right. So
yeah.
there are just so many people that could benefit from this. And I can now say from experience, I'm so used to talking with alumni as I interview them, but now I can speak from true experience and say, if you do this and if you take a leap of faith and do this program, you will not regret it because you're going to get answers to questions that you've probably had for years. And you may even get answers to things you didn't even realize you had questions for.
Well, like who knew like some of these things well, sometimes when I go into the hormones, I mean, I'll like there's actually certain patterns that point directly to a liver problem where the
Yes.
liver labs and even the ultrasound are completely normal. Because I can tell you right now that's the case with you. And we go into the why of that. So there's so much like people are like that you might think you're just staring at some dots there, but I'm like the graduates, I'm already looking at it. I'm already like people going through the program. I'm like, what do you see that's not hormonally related that's here?
Yeah. No. I know it's why, and the thing is you teach us to know that too. So
Right.
when we do go and retest our hormones, I'm going to be able to read my own hormones and
Yep.
understand what this means.
Yes, yes, and hell yes. And that gets me so excited, right? It excites me when you guys come up with the answer. It's so good sometimes, like when people keep winning winner, 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 chicken dinner on the mastermind call. I'm like, man, you might as well teach the class. I don't know why I'm here. Marty, why don't you teach the class? I don't know why I'm here because you know it so well.
Yeah, you've trained us to truly think like you. It sounds like a wild concept on day one when you tell us that. But then as you get to week 6 and week 7 of the program and beyond, you realize, oh, wait, I'm regurgitating like a mini Dr. Maggie.
So I'm going to just ask people in the audience right here, right now in the comments section, I'm going to need you to write something because I'm going to ask you a question. And all of you that are watching, I want you to write something in the comment. And that is that I'm thinking that I have done so many hormone trainings that I'm thinking next week during Thanksgiving week, I'm thinking about featuring some videos and trainings that I've done and case studies that are all around hormones and hormone turnaround. I can't do it until every single one of you that are watching tell me exactly what hormone symptoms you're dealing with or what autoimmune struggles you're dealing with. And the reason is I want to tailor those videos for you. Okay. I've been around the block a million times with this. I want to pick the right resources for you. So every single person watching right now, type in chat what are some of the hormone symptoms you have and what autoimmune struggles you have. They'll help me tailor exactly some of the trainings that we're going to share next week. Because I want to think about Thanksgiving as a time for us to be giving back to ourselves.
Yeah.
And the most important way you can give back to yourself is to balance those damn hormones.
Right.
And understand what it really means and have those tools at your disposal. It's for you. It's time for you to get really, really powerful.
And for people who are wondering, okay, well, what are some of my hormone symptoms? I mean, you could probably just start listing symptoms. And if this rings true for you, chime in and say yes. I mean, go ahead if you want to, but I know offhand you've got weight gain could be a hormone symptom,
We actually
right?
have a whole hormone checklist guide. If you want the hormone checklist guide to know which of your hormones are linked with, which symptoms you have are linked with actually hormone disturbances, to put in the chat right now, type in hormone checklist, but tell me what symptoms you're struggling with. And we then check your Facebook message request later, and we will get a hormone checklist to you. There's also a link we're going to put in chat. If you're like, I don't want people messaging me all stuff, why don't you just send a message to me? So we're putting a link in the chat right now. You can send a message directly to our team so we can get the checklist to you. We can see what your hormone symptoms or autoimmune struggles are. We can get the exact right resources and trainings to you.
If I were watching this training a couple years ago, I would be so excited to know that there is help out there and that you are willing to give this information and help people out so freely. It's a great service, Dr. Maggie, and the fact that you are providing this program for people to then work with you directly. I can't say enough good things about it. I really do think it's life-changing. It's already changed several of my own symptoms in this short period of time. Yeah. She always says thank me later, but I thank her every chance I get, just so you guys know.
All right, everybody, that's a wrap. And then just a reminder, if you're interested in my hormone masterclass, there's a link in the chat. And I will happy holidays that are coming up, everybody. And here's a celebration to Thanksgiving, giving back to yourself this year. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.